Queenie,
Hi,
awesome.
can you hear me?
I can. I just
Great.
invited. Oh, and there's Queenie.
Hi, Queenie.
Ooh, hold on. I can't hear.
Oh,
Why
geez.
can't I hear?
Well, I'll give a quick intro while you're your headphones. But welcome everyone to the James Beard Foundation Women's History Month Instagram Live series. I'm super excited. Today we'll be.
Here.
Oh, you can't
For
hear us.
some reason, I can't hear. Yeah.
Do you
I
want?
don't know why. Yep. Okay.
We'll wait a sec. Well, how are you, Jeannie? How's it going?
I'm doing really well. What about
Good.
yourself?
Great. It's sunny in New York, which is nice. It was like freezing all weekend, and now it's finally warming back up a little bit. So.
Nice. It's a gorgeous day here as usual, which we're so lucky.
I was going to ask you about the weather, and then I'm like, I'm going to be so jealous. All
Yeah.
right. Re-inviting Queenie to make sure. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, everyone, for the technical difficulties. We'll get started hopefully in a moment. Okay. Okay, I've invited Queenie, so we'll just give it one sec.
All
Oh,
right.
your request. Okay. Oh, sorry, this is my first time doing Instagram Live. Okay. I just accepted Queenie's. Let's see if this works. Oh, there we go. Queenie, can you hear us?
I
Still no.
don't. Every time I go live, I can hear you
Yeah.
when I don't have these on. So I'm gonna take these off.
Okay.
Oh,
I can
okay.
hear you guys once I have these on, but once you add me, it takes out my sound. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's weird.
Weird.
Try
Okay.
one more time.
All right. Sorry, everyone. Let me re-invite. Work. Okay, so one more invite. Okay.
There we go. Yep.
Yay.
We
Made it.
Woohoo.
welcome.
Awesome.
All right, I will restart my introduction and then I'll pass it to you both. But thank you everyone for joining our Women's History Month Instagram Live series happening every Monday at 3:30. This week we're talking about mindfulness and wellness at work with two amazing women who I'm super excited to introduce, both alumni of our Women's Entrepreneurial Leadership Program 2021.
Yay.
Did a few weeks or a month ago, almost. But I'll let you both introduce yourselves, give a little background on your businesses, and then we'll jump into our conversation. And whoever wants to kick it off.
I'll go ahead. My name is Jeannie. I'm the owner of Kai's. We're a restaurant in Santa Monica, California, and we're fast casual. We specialize in clean, healthy, feel-good food. We introduced a sort of like a new food product, which is as if a sandwich and a sushi roll were to have had a baby. Um, different ingredients wrapped inside rice or cauliflower rice with collard green romaine or seaweed around the outside. And our mission is to enliven consciousness and transform the food industry to prioritize the health and well-being of consumers, workers, and the planet.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeannie.
Sure.
All right. Well, I am Queenie Reed. I am co-owner with my husband, Michael Reed, of Poppy and Rose, Poppy and Seed, and a catering company, Root of All Food. Poppy and Rose is a brunch restaurant in downtown Los Angeles, which we are a basically classic comfort brunch spot that is sustainable. And then we have a Poppy and Seed, which is in Anaheim, California, which is basically farm to fork. And we basically have a garden around our premises where we source like our finishings and get my husband gets creative ideas from our garden. And our company is really about giving back. We are blessed to be a blessing, and that we run our own race. And that is what has kept us sane this time.
Well, thank you for that background, and makes me really want to live on the West Coast, and bummed that I'm not able to go to all of your spots and try everything. But I'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to kick it off, I'll keep it sort of broad with my first question for you both. But so what does wellness and mindfulness look like in your businesses? How do you sort of practice? What are your sort of ways that you promote it with your team and at at your businesses? I'd love to hear a little bit about that to kick off the conversation. Queenie, if you want to start and then hand it over to Jeannie.
Like I said before, we are a giving back company. And I think like for me, that keeps me grounded mentally, giving back. So we do allow our employees, it's kind of like something that we do when we interview, is that, giving is going to be a really big part of, your employment. And if you're okay with that, we have to make sure that everybody is okay with giving and handing out food to the homeless, because that's something that we do every day. And I think that keeps, a perspective of like, gratefulness. And then we try to make sure that we give in our stand-ups, a lot of affirmations, that today is going to be a great day. One thing I like to do with my employees is I walk around and ask them, why is today going to be a great day, right? Because if we vocalize it, then we kind of embody it, and I get them prepared for that. And one thing that I say at the end is that even if these people are giving you guys a hard time, we love them. Why do we love them? Because if they don't come through these doors, we can't do this, and we can't, because we love serving, don't we? Just to put things into perspective. And we try to make sure that we give a happy life-work balance. Like at Poppy and Seed, we make sure that our employees get 2 days off. I understand trying to have 1 day off. You have 1 day off and you feel like you're just now cleaning your house and making sure that you're taking care of what you need to take care of for your life. And then now you're back to work. So you never have another day. So having 2 days off together is really important for us, and allowing, we have vacation conversations. What are you doing this year? When are you taking your vacation, so that we can plan? I want everyone to take vacations. So we try to make sure that that we are very mindful to make sure that everyone is living their lives. It's great to work a lot, but you have to have that balance.
Yeah, I have more questions on that. I'll let Jeannie. We'll get.
Yeah, I mean, along the same lines as Queenie, I think giving our staff and team members just a sense of purpose in what they do is so, so important. We spend a third of our lives at work, and so feeling good about what you do and sort of feeling inspired and motivated to do your work, I think is super important. And for our staff and our just basic training is really, it doesn't matter what they're doing. The most important thing is everyone that walks in the door, your job is really to improve their day, make them happier, make them feel better. That's the opportunity you have at your job, is to just be that angel that sort of touches everyone's day, whether that be through the food or through the interaction. And that we want you to wake up in the morning and not be like, oh my God, I got to go to work today, but feel like, yes, I get to go to work today. Feel good about where you are. We infuse a lot of health and wellness into our just daily structure and what we do in our training, in terms of like, I think I sent you the video, but like starting, everybody gets a water bottle, and start their day with drinking an 8-ounce glass of water, things like that. Just teaching them some exercises to help combat the stresses of working in restaurants, just making everyone more aware of the body. And I think the key is just that awareness. In terms of mindfulness, it's just being aware. The only thing you have to bring to whatever you do is yourself. And as long as you bring yourself fully, that's all we can do. And so just really show up and be mindful, be aware of your surroundings, the energy that you're putting out, how you're interacting with your coworkers, and your relationship with the world around you and each other. I think is kind of like the foundation for that mindfulness and just wellness at work. And as well as, the 2 days off are essential. That work-life balance is essential. And so getting to know each of our employees and what their goals are, what they want from life, and how can we, as in their daily lives of working, but as well as in a more bigger picture, how can we support them to create the life that they want?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, I definitely have questions sort of towards the end of our conversation, but I want to shift a little bit and ask you both, how does that look like sort of as owner operators, as leaders of your team? How are you, yourself practicing that mindfulness, wellness? How are you showing up every day excited? And what are some, some ways that you sort of get yourself in that mindset to lead your team, make it a sustainable career, which we know at times it's not. And yeah, I'm curious what that looks like from an owner operator perspective.
Well, I will say it's hard. It's hard. Only because like there's so much to do in a day, and like we're people too. You know what I'm saying? Like we're regular people, we have children, we have husbands, we have mothers and fathers, we have sisters and brothers, we have obligations that are outside. But then also our employees and our team members, their family is also an extension of our family. Like, so for me, I think that I really had to start being mindful. I relatively still call myself a new mom. My daughter's 3.5, so she's right in the thick of it. We're
You're
right
allowed.
there. Woo, woo, okay. And then now I have this new restaurant and a newer one coming after that. And I think for me, just like Jeannie said, I get to do this. I get to be an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? And as long as I keep myself grounded in that gratefulness that I could be somewhere that I don't want to be, which is trapped into an office, right? I could be somewhere where I'm not controlling my life or impacting the lives of others in the way that I want to. And so it's very important. I make sure that Michael and we get massages on a weekly basis when we can. I make sure that
Nice.
we take time, like we go for a walk in the morning together. That's technically like our meeting time, right? So we're talking and we're talking about like what we need to do with the baby and kind of like for the house and kind of like planning out our days as we go. But then that's our time as husband and wife to just be husband and wife, and also getting everything going. Sitting quiet is another one for me. Being able to go places where I'm able to be quiet. Also practice the same thing that we preach. We really try to actively take 2 days off. Even if the 2 days off means that I'm just not going to the restaurant and I'm just sitting at home doing admin work, that's technically like a day off, right? We make sure that we plan our vacations. That's just as important. One, because we need to get fed to be able to be creative and also be able to pour that back into our employees. So we have to make sure that we're taking that time to actively and mindfully make those steps of making sure that we're mentally sane, because hurt people. So if I'm negative and I'm really like just in the dumps, then that's going to transfer over into my employees and my team members. And so and then that's going to transfer over into the customers, right? And we need our customers. And so I think, for me, it starts with us first. And as long as we live our life that way, and we're saying that these things are important to us, look, we're living it too, even though we're way more busier than you guys, and we're prioritizing that and making sure that we have that time to do that. And we want to make sure that you guys have that time, so they know that we're genuine about it, and it's not we're going on vacation but they can't go, like that's crazy. So that's actively what I try to do. Oh, and do the things that I love to do, right? I'm not just a restaurateur. I like to sing. I like to write songs. I like to go outside and garden. Michael likes to garden, right? Jeannie, we gonna be in the sand doing the silent disco dancing, right? Because again, we are people too. So actively making sure that you're doing something that you enjoy outside of what your profession is another big one, I would say.
That's such a great tip, and I feel like probably overlooked when it's like head down, work hard. And as business owners, you don't really get a day off, but like you said, prioritizing that and actually really taking that time, I think, is so important.
Yeah, agree, totally. To that work-life balance for ourselves is key, and it's so important, especially when we have families, and to do the things that we love and enjoy, and knowing that, like for me, in the Vedas, they talk about feeding people as one of the most important dharmas, because you're nourishing, you're giving people their vitality basically. And so I find a deep sense of purpose in that, as well as just simple things for myself in terms of creating that wellness and that energy in everything that I do is breath work for me is really important to help me stay calm, especially when you have a board full of tickets and, you know, customers waiting and getting anxious or angry or annoyed. It's easy for me to, like, the biggest lesson I've learned since starting to work in this business is to not let the doing take me out of my being, which is so easy. Like, I get so caught up in the results and we have to get this out, we have to do this, and then I end up creating a lot of like stress for everybody else. And so how to just breathe and, you know, let things be how they're going to be, and just know that and trust that we're all just going to do our best and do what we can for everybody. And just having that trust and belief in my team and myself. I meditate twice a day, which for me is key. Like it creates so much inner space inside myself to just be able to do everything. And because in this business, there really is so many moving parts and just so much going on at once. It is a lot.
Yeah.
And so to be able to just breathe, you know, and connect and know that people come first, you know, and that's our team members and then our customers. That's what's the most important thing.
Great. That's super helpful. And I think I definitely want to pick both of your brains towards the end of the conversation about tips that you would give to other sort of like what you have been doing this whole conversation. But I think it's really helpful just to bring awareness to that mindfulness, and that you guys have a lot on your back and you're leading a team, and that you do need to take that moment and meditate, or whatever that looks like, go on a walk.
Yeah.
I think it's so great.
Yeah.
So I have one more question, sort of like targeted question, and then we can sort of open it up even more. But I'd love to hear if there's been any struggles in implementing these practices. I know, you know, the having 2 vacation days might present a challenge to your business model, or what does that look like? How have you sort of worked out these challenges, and how have you, you know, in your own as an owner also, but for your team, what does that look like? Have you had any roadblocks? If so, what have you sort of done to get over them? I'm curious.
I can start this. I feel like one of the challenges I noticed is it's just sort of like human nature and how we've been educated, I would say, and raised. Is there's fundamental within how we operate in life. There's a little bit of a like sense of againstness in terms of, you know, competition, like starts in grade school where you got to compete against grades and all that kind of stuff. And so a lot of people walk through the door with this like vibe, and like, how do you, you know, tai chi that into like a togetherness, a team, caring for each other, working together, all in the same boat towards the same goal. And I think that that's key in creating that positive work environment that breeds wellness and wholeness, and just that concept of that everything is connected and interconnected, that holistic mindset of, you know, everybody has a role and everyone is equally important and everyone contributes to that end result and should be appreciated and acknowledged for that contribution equally and fully. I think is fundamental, and that is a bit of a challenge to, you know, get everyone to, like, you know,
Yeah.
to that space. But I think that that's super key. I think we lost Queenie.
Oh,
Queenie, where'd you go?
Second. I just reinvited her, so hopefully it'll take. Oh,
There she is.
There we go. It just kicked me off. He's been in these suburbs. It just every day the internet just goes out. I'm like, what is happening here? Hello. Sorry about that.
And the scheduling the 2 days for sure is a challenge for my GM. And it's a constant juggle, but it's totally doable.
Right.
Yeah, I will say it's challenging because it's like you're dealing with a lot of people who have things that they're coming in with, like Jeannie said. And some things, they're things that we can't touch or we can't do anything about. And so for me, like, the pushback is like people who don't want to be consistent. So if somebody's constantly always calling out, or like what's happening right now, the Great Resignation, and the great exodus, and everyone just hopping jobs because they're getting paid a quarter or a dollar more over here.
Yeah.
That part is what makes it difficult, because if you can't keep your team steady and together, then it's hard.
Oh,
So it's like, we just have to actively, continuously make that a priority and try to just live our lives that way. Like I think that that's just basically what I do. And just to make sure that we're affirming them all the time, because when during the pandemic I came up with this thing, it was like, okay, you know what, sometimes I be a little negative. I'm negative sometimes, and I really wanted to change that. And I really wanted to change it because it was bothering me. It was like, okay, like I thought that I just lived this positive life, but it was really bothering me. And so I had to actively, consciously, it's like working out. You just don't wake up one day and you're positive. So it's like, once we get someone that has been with us for a long time, you start to see the change, and then they kind of get with it, because in order for them to change their behavior, they have to repetitiously do that behavior to change that habit. So once, if we keep instilling it, like we have like affirmations on our condiment boxes at the tables, so they're constantly reading them too. I'm putting them up around places so that they can see it too, and then hopefully it just enters into them and it becomes them, and they start to just kind of walk that walk and understand that I do need 2 days off. If I actually take control of my finances, which I try to work with them actively on too, because finances is a stressor too. So, and since I become from a finance background, I ask them, like, if you have any questions about your finances, and if you trust me, I'll take a look and show you how to get there. But even with that, like, if you just take your time and plan it out, and understand that maybe you don't need to work 2 jobs, like you're stressing yourself out, like let's try to figure out how we get you to one job in some type of normalcy. That's kind of the roadblocks that you're dealing with, because you're dealing with people, and it's kind of like it's a roll of the dice, like
right. Have you found that and you mentioned the sort of like hiring craziness that's been going on? Have you noticed that sort of how you promote wellness and mindfulness and the way you sort of lead your team has affected that in a positive way? Have you found that people,
Yeah.
wow,
yeah. I mean, sometimes
yeah.
it doesn't matter what you do, that person is going to find a reason to leave. So no matter, and then that's where my mindfulness and wellness comes in, because it hurts my feelings. Like, it's like, I'm telling you the truth, and I really want you to be here, and I want you to grow with the team. And we had all these pep talks and these talks, and when you were going through something, I was coaching you through it and being there. And then you just don't show up for work one day because you got a better opportunity or whatever that looks like, so sometimes, but then I have other people who are with it, and it's like, hey, you'll have to kick me out of here. The building has to burn down in order for me to stop working here. So I see it on both ends.
Yeah, I feel that if a lot of people that work at Kai's work here because, one, they want to eat the food.
True. Facts.
Yeah. And then the environment we provide, people feel cared for and they feel part of something, and so they generally tend to stay. Like, most of our people have been with us for 4 or 5 years, and we're lucky that they haven't gone elsewhere through these hiring issues and through COVID. But I feel that it's really how people feel. If you make them feel really good, then they're not going to want to go somewhere else, even if there's a small, financial. But if it's a big financial, for sure people will jump ship. But as we learned through the Well program, the financial piece was not the first thing on that, why people stay at their job or buy into,
Right. The hourlies
Yeah.
weren't, but salary people were more concerned about money.
Yeah.
It's weird. A little backwards, I feel.
I'm curious, this is like not really off topic, but did anything you learned in Well like sort of help shape it? I mean, I know that you were doing this well before you entered the JBF Well program, but like, did anything there sort of shape how you thought about the way you've been running your business, and it more specifically related to sort of mindfulness and wellness?
Big time.
Oh,
especially in terms
100.
of, yeah, especially in terms of like the management side of really then, learning a lot of ways on how to empower and engage um, our team big time.
Yeah, like internal marketing, like kind of just opened my whole eyes. I was like, yeah, right. Right, that makes sense. Like, okay, like you market to your customers, right? Because you want them to understand what your brand is. Same thing for your team members, your
right.
employees, right? Like they have to, in order for them to feel a part of something, they have to understand where you're going. And I'm one of those types of people, and I think that Well helped me through this as well, is that I don't really talk about what I'm doing or what has happened or any accolades or something good that's happening. I very seldom, it happens and I go on. Or if I'm working on something, I feel like I shouldn't speak about it until it's actually there, right? But when it comes to and I kept saying, like, I want to build a team that's going to grow with me. I can't build a team that's going to grow with us if I'm not sharing where we're going, right? If I'm not investing into them and telling them, like, hey, this is where we're going. This is where I see you. This is the part that you play in this bigger picture. So with all of that, it's like making that connectivity, making them feel a part of it, making them feel like they're one within us. That's something that I learned from Will, and that internal marketing was like, it's like bing. I was like, oh, okay. So like
And
on the condiment boxes, those are affirmations, but let's put them on their shirts so that they're reading it and feeling it on their bodies. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it. James Beard, this was wonderful. I just want to let you know, if I haven't said it so many times, this was fantastic. It was the best thing that has happened to me in my entrepreneurial career. I'm just saying. So yes to
I
all
didn't
of
trying to plug well, but thank you for saying that. That's great.
that. It's the truth. It's the truth.
yeah,
Awesome. That's so great to hear. And Jeannie, before I move on, I didn't know if you wanted to add anything there.
oh, I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, the big shift for me was asking a lot of questions, asking for input, really bringing them in to contribute to that bigger vision or picture, and feel part of it, and go forward with us as as like a big contributor, was big for me.
Right. Okay, well, with our few minutes left, I'd love for you both to give anyone listening and who will, we're recording this conversation, so whoever listens in the future, some tips on how, if you're just starting out and you're leading your team, you're an owner operator, how can they sort of start? What's an easy first step, or what's an easy few first steps to start promoting mindfulness and wellness with their team, with themselves? So sort of like your final words of advice and wisdom on this subject.
I'll let you go first, Jeannie.
Okay, well, I would say some simple things to adopt are, I did create a video, but like just, starting and letting everyone know water's super important. Start your day with a full cup. Start your work day with a full cup of water. Things like breath work, maybe teaching your staff how to breathe fully into the belly. And just talking a lot about and establishing like really strong communication, and especially with your managers. Like I meet with my managers one-on-one, and we talk about everything from personal process to what's going on in the restaurant to what's going on in life, just opening that communication and that trust and comfort level between us, which then extends to the rest of the staff, and just creating that bond and that deep connection where whatever's going on, it's just what is. There's no judgment. It's just what is, and then how do we move forward from there? And really, I feel whatever's going on, bring the awareness to each person and what their role is and what they're contributing in any situation, and then how can that, and then find ways to connect all of that into a synergy to do or create what we're trying to do or create.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Yeah, I would say you know, our employees, I hate to use this type of terminology, but our employees are low key our family. They're our children. And just like parents coach their children, they're watching us too. And so if we're not leading by a good example, then what is our team going to do? You know? And so for me, like, mental health is just as important as physical health. Owners, people who are just starting out, take care of yourself. If that looks like you need to just go in the walk-in and scream for 5 minutes because screaming for 5 minutes makes you feel better, then you need to do that. But then that lets them know that, you know, it's okay to have those moments. It's okay to get upset. It's okay to get frustrated. It's about how we think about it and how we back ourselves out. Also, don't take things so personally. 9 times out of 10, the person that is dishing that out to you, it has nothing to do with you. And if you keep that in the forefront of your mind, that this really has nothing to do with me, that let me see how they could be going through something. I don't know what they're going through, but let me be kind and kill them with kindness, because that might be the change that they need to change the trajectory, or the push that they need to change their trajectory for that day. So it's like, if you can keep yourself centered, because serving is hard. Being an owner is hard. I'm not going to say that it is easy and that it's a walk in the park, because it's not. But to whom much is given, much is required. So at that same time, if you are in these positions, you're in those positions for a reason. Hold on to that reason, and that will get you through. Pay attention to when you need a break. It is okay to say this is too much. Like, as an owner, I want my employees to come to me and say, this is too much. I am struggling, so that we can work on it together. You're not in this alone. Your owners and your bosses should be there to support you. And that's what we should facilitate as owners of these precious things that we are building, and moments and culinary experiences that we are building. So just remember that, you know, don't take it personally. Make time for yourself. Put yourself first. And okay,
Be
keep on going. I would say something else, but it's highly inappropriate. But if you know me, you kind of feel what I'm saying on the inside to the people that are making you feel bad.
yeah.
Words to live by. I'm gonna like rewatch this video when I'm getting myself.
And to echo what Queenie just said, it just be real. With no matter what is going on, just be real. Name it, work with it. You know, just because it's what is. You know, yeah.
Well, you both are doing amazing things and leading this industry in such a great direction, and I thank you. And this was an amazing conversation. I thank you for joining, for giving your time over in such a busy day that I'm sure you have. And I really appreciate it. This was such an awesome conversation, and so necessary and important to hear everything that you are doing and your advice. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you,
Yo,
Queenie.
shout out
Love
to
you.
Lily.
Oh,
We
yes.
see you,
Lily
Lily.
Jan. Is she-
Really,
Woo, woo. Thank you so much, Megan. This was such a pleasure.
Yeah.
all right.
Love you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.